Hello folks, back with the next video here on the 5 league challenge that I've set up, recapping on the second season with Institute in Northern Ireland. We're in the Premier League now, and picking up from where we left off really, which was back at the start of the season, where we went out of the UEFA Cup to the mighty Fenerbahce. Took a bit of a doing over the 2 legs, to be fair. So since then, yeah, it's been solid form in the domestic competitions. However, we did lose our first domestic game against Coleraine in the League Cup, so we went out there. But the league's been trotting along great, been winning most games. I think we've only lost one in the league. Again, it was to that same team, Coleraine. But we're sitting here with a 9-point lead over Linfield, who was always going to be the main challengers to us. And yeah, got a few games coming up here in December, which I'm just going to play through just to let you see how things are going. I've also made a few transfers. So we brought in Jamie Victory from Cheltenham. I think that was maybe just before the last video stopped. But this guy can play either wing from Linfield, picking. I've not really given much of a game yet. This guy came in, James Quinn, on a free transfer. He was a good pick up there because he's a pretty solid player from West Brom on a free transfer. Colin Caton is a player coach, and I decided to bring in a few goalkeepers because mines were struggling really, so I've got these 2 keepers in. But this is Icelandic international, is the main goalie. He's about to get his debut. So yeah, just plodding along in the league here. We're getting towards that halfway stage, so I'm just going to play through a few more games, and that should take us up to the January the 1st, see if there's any free transfers available. Although it's not something I'm going to be too focused on, because what I'm hoping is if we can wrap up the league here, then I'm going to start applying for jobs in the Scottish League, and that'll move on to phase 2 in the 5-league challenge. So yeah, drop me any comments or anything in the videos just to see if this is something that you're enjoying, if anybody wants to see more of this, because this game, to get the challenge objective, is going to take a bit longer probably than the Nottingham Forest and the Raith Rovers ones did, which were like 2 and 3 seasons each. Although technically I could go back to Nottingham Forest for a shot at the Champions League, or the Raith Rovers for the novelty of seeing them in the Champions League, I guess. But I was started off well here. 4 goals for Tarrant. He's been really good, coming in free transfer for Aston Villa there. He was well down the pecking order there though. So not really much to complain about with the way the team's performing. Well, nothing to complain about really. We did get that loss to Coleraine, so they've been something of a bogey team. But going out of the League Cup, we won it last year, so won the Charity Shield at the start of the season. So if we can win this league, then that's a clean sweep of the trophies in Ireland anyway. So we'll still hope for a wee cup run in the Irish Cup. But there you can see, so we're generally dealing with these teams fairly easily. 6-1 away from home there. There's the golfing class because I've built up the team quite well. And just checking finance wise, we're still, yeah, solid enough. Not much point in having more money than that because it's difficult to spend it with the number of players who are potentially interested. But we'll maybe let a striker go or something just to, build a bit of funds up. That's maybe a shout just to give it a boost there. Yeah, we might as well because we've not got a cup game coming up. So yeah, let's do that. We'll see if we can move a couple of players on. No. Nobody interested in Adolfo, that's a strange one. So I should be able to raise some money that way. Yeah, those are pretty straightforward positions to replenish in. Yeah, so we'll see if we can do something of a wee fundraiser. Why not, just to spice it up a bit, eh? Definitely got the numbers for winning the league, I'd imagine. So Glentoran, they're third in the league, so you get something of a game for them. So he changes there. So yeah, 12-point lead over Linfield is handy enough, and there's usually a bit of a gap between them and the rest anyway, because they're kind of by far the biggest club in Northern Ireland. Actually got a pretty tidy stadium because they play at the Windsor Park, you know, the national stadium there, 18,000 capacity. So that's turned into another dominant win there, 5-1, unless there's more to come. So with the players I've put up for sale, I'm only going to let them go if I can get like way over what their values are. And like I say, just a case of trying to raise some money. And maybe just, if I get bids for 2 or 3, then that'll be, I'll hang on to the rest. And I just try and get cheaper players in, because it's better to have a bit of money sitting. It is starting to dwindle a bit, it's going down with wages against income. And there you go, see, so Norwich coming in for Tosh there, so we'll hang on to. Do you know what? If there's teams coming in for them, then we'll just let a few go. And I've already got Kus or Kos that can come back in for Tosh there, so that's easy enough. He had a good season last year, don't mind putting him back in. But we'll slow it down if Monty leaves. That's enough money raised, I'd say. Although that would be for the 1st of July, so that's kind of pointless. We'll just leave that one. So I think probably Tarrant and Hines are the most likely to fetch me something decent again. So we'll stick with those two. And I'll see if I can bring in a wee midfielder. Cheap enough. He's actually got no bad stats. Aye, that'll do. So yeah, just keeping the league games trucking along here. It's up to, so this is the first game of the second half of the season as far as the league goes. It'll be 36 games again, so once we get up to that kind of 28, 29 mark, then we'll start to see if we're going to be able to wrap up the league. I think I've got a handy enough lead at this stage, which would be 14 points if it stays like this. And we've only dropped points in one game in the first half of the season, so it's all good indicators that we should be able to wrap this one. So I'm going to be leaving them at the end of the season. It's better to kind of leave them a bit of money and the team set up there, because I quite like to go back and keep an eye on the teams I've managed before, and maybe arrange a wee pre-season friendly with the next club that you go to manage. Good to see Quinn getting a couple of goals. Here we are. So another solid win, and even though Linfield's keeping winning, we're still, far enough ahead there. Although Glentoran aren't playing ball with this midfielder, that's alright. We're being a bit cheeky with the 6-month instalments. So he's coming in for 22k, so that was like a good way of making 350,000 just to bolster the books there, with Tosh going out, and then either of these strikers, if I can move them on. Strikers are always easy enough to replace, but once the cup run's underway, I'll keep the team steady after that. So yeah, that's the season moving along there, folks. What I'll do is I'll come back with another video, maybe when we're a bit further into the cup run, and when we're getting closer to the option or the chance of wrapping the league up. So we'll do my next video then. But everything's moving along fine with this 5-league challenge. Institute flying high up the top of the Irish Premier Division this season now. So catch you in the next video. Cheers for watching.